Well, hello there, Vlad here. Welcome to my studio. Welcome to the Battle of Purple Things, because we are comparing the Rev G3, which is basically the purple channel of the Rev generator amp, and the modern channel, let me switch to that one, on the Blue Guitar Amp 1 Iridium. By the way, if you want to start recording your own music at your home studio, but you haven't either started setting it up yet, or you have something going on but you want to make it an actual home studio, check out my free Home Studio Essentials course by following the link below in the description. In the course you learn things like how to set up your room, how to do really effective acoustic treatment on a tiny budget, something that you can see behind me for example. They make a huge difference. We'll talk about gear, free software, all kinds of useful things. Follow the link below in the description for that. And if you don't know, it might be one of the worst kept secrets that the modern channel on the Amp 1 is based on the purple channel on the Rev generator amps. And I was really interested to do this comparison because the Rev G3 pedal is probably my most used drive pedal, and I run that into my Rev D20 amp, and I feel I'm getting amazing high gain tones, but even like rock tones with this. And because this modern channel on the Amp 1 goes for the similar sound, I thought it would be really interesting to compare the two. Here at the Gatpick Land, I don't spend that much time tweaking the knobs or anything like that in front of the camera. Instead, what I'm actually interested in is how both of these pieces of gear perform in a full mix, and do they actually sound very similar, do they sound different, and that's what we are going to find out here next. The recording setups for the songs we're about to hear were the following. First of all, with the Amp 1, it was basically guitar into this unit, and from the unit's speaker out into the 2 notes cab M, where I was using exactly the same Rev 4x12 cabinet as I'm using in the Rev Dynamics as well. Basically, I'm going from the guitar into the Rev G3, from the G3 into the front end of my Rev D20, and in D20 I'm using exactly the same cabinet as the one I'm using here in the cab M. Same microphones, same microphone positions, all the EQs and everything like that turned off. And from there I just dialed in the sounds by ear for all the 3 songs we're about to check out here, because I didn't feel it made sense to try to match the settings and see if that's where the difference between the units will be. I thought it made more sense to just dial in by ear and see how different or how similar they would sound. As demonstrated by my video where I play a bunch of different riffs with the G3, links below in the description by the way, it's by no means a one-trick pony. You can do a bunch of different kind of music with it, and same applies to the Amp 1 as well, just on this one channel. So I thought before going to the obvious stuff, which is metal, I actually wanted to try out both of these units in a rock setting. And I know I mentioned that I was using the Rev 4x12 in the cab M and in the Torpedo software on the Rev D20 as well. But for this first song, which is kind of a more hard rock thing, I wanted to go for that kind of genre specific cabinet, and I went for the Lancaster Audio Producer Pack by Cameron Webb, and there I chose the Marshall 1960s cabinet. That sounds amazing. I also should mention that all of the processing and everything for both of the tracks is exactly the same, so the only differences we're hearing are between the 2 units, so basically the Amp 1 and the G3 plus Rev D20. Except not. Greetings from the editing desk for this video. As I was mixing the songs for this video, I realized that even though the amps do share similar sounds, or like the pedal plus amp and then the actual amp Iridium that is, it didn't make sense to try to match the processing in the post for the songs, because even though they're similar, they're also different, and they also kind of presented different kind of problematic frequencies depending on what guitar I was going for. So even though I was using mostly the same processing for both of the tracks, I did kind of EQ fix things here and there with the tracks to make them sound just more balanced and better. Basically, I decided to make the best versions of each of the tracks. I gotta say, for a pedal and an amp that's marketed as metal, well, the G3 is easily labeled as metal. The Amp One Iridium, it's a bit more versatile thing, especially because it's a 4-channel amp. But overall, I'm just really impressed what kind of hard rock stuff you can do with both. The EQ controls on both are super powerful. Obviously, the Amp One also has like a boost and reverb and all kinds of stuff. It's a full-fledged amp. But just the controls and the 3 different modes on the G3 make it a super versatile drive pedal. And there's a reason why this thing has stayed on my board since I got it in 2018, I think. So what, 3 years almost already? It's super impressive and I love this thing. It sounds so good. And then it's time to do the metal thing. For this one, I did use the Rev 4x12 in both of the units and then some more gain. On the G3, I went for the blue mode for the rhythm guitar, and for the lead guitar, I actually used the red aggression mode. And on the Amp One, for the lead stuff, I turned the boost on. All of the reverbs and delays and stuff like that were added in the post. I gotta say, I absolutely love the sound I'm getting with both of these amps. The thick, punchy cut through, and there's nice, healthy amount of mid-range as well. I feel those guitars sit and mix really well, and there's not much tweaking I need to do with them, which is really cool. And that's the kind of gear I love because it saves me time mixing wise as well. Dial in the sounds, record, and you're good to go. Maybe like a tiny bit of EQ cleanup, and that's it. Fantastic. But it obviously doesn't end here. No true metal test would be anything without us going low, and we are going really low with that guitar to the key of B. Let's do it. That, my friends, might have been the heaviest song I've ever recorded. I had a blast recording it and I'm really enjoying that guitar. I need to do a review of it soon as well. Both of these units are more than suitable for heavy stuff as well. And there's nice definition going on with the distortion, but it's still thick. And you can really tweak the sounds with the tone controls on both of the units as well. And get the sounds exactly right before you hit the record. So as I mentioned, you don't have to do almost any post-processing to them. Really, really cool. And at this point you will probably want to know, well, which one do I prefer? And my answer is that I do prefer the G3 plus my Rev D20, but, and this is a big but, I've used the D20 and the G3 for almost a year now. They've been the core of my home recording setup, whereas the Amp one I've only had for a few days, so I'm not as familiar with it as with this setup. I do feel there's a little bit of more dynamics and kind of interaction between the guitar pedal and the amp with the D20 setup. But then again, the Amp one costs half of what the G3 and the D20 combined will cost you. And with a little bit more tweaking on the Amp one, I'm sure you wouldn't be able to tell in the mix which one is which. They're really, really close. And as I mentioned, the Amp one is like half the price of the D20 amp and the pedal combined. So that's a really good deal. Then on the other hand, if you already have an amp that takes pedals well, this thing will set you, I don't know, I think it's like roughly $200 or so. I don't remember exactly. Links below in the description, and it's an affiliate link. If you use that, you support the channel as well, while it not costing you anything extra. Just saying. But yeah, overall both units are a lot of fun. And as I mentioned, the Blue Guitar Amp 1 Iridium Edition is a full amp with 4 different channels. There's a separate video on this one, me comparing it to the Mercury Edition, which is the kind of more vintage sounding version of the same amp. 4 channels, reverb, bunch of cool sounds, and these units are really well made, super powerful, and pretty affordable as well. But that concludes my comparison between the Rev G3 and the Rev D20 combo versus the Blue Guitar Amp 1 Iridium Edition. Let me know in the comment section down below whether it was really easy for you to tell which amp is which, or it was difficult to figure out when I was actually switching between the two amps. I'm really interested to hear what you guys think. Check out my free Home Studio Essentials course by following the link below in the description. If you made it until the end of this video and you like the content but you haven't subscribed yet, please consider hitting the subscribe button and the notification bell as well. For hardcore fans, there's my Thomann store, there's my merch store as well, and I think that should be it. Thank you so much for watching. I shall see you next time.